All right, good morning, everyone. It is 10:02, and so hopefully you had enough time to settle in. We are really happy to have you here this morning at our Prospect Sierra Middle School virtual open house. We are grateful that you've made the time to be with us this morning. We know it's a Sunday. There are many, many layers to everyone's weekend, and we're just grateful that you're spending a little bit of time with us. You're going to hear from a lot of people. Me being the first, I'm Nisa Frank. I'm the head of school at Prospect Sierra. You will also hear from our middle school division head, Nathan Tanaka. And then you'll hear from many of our faculty members, Leslie, Marlene, David, Jesse, Emily, and Amy. And then you'll also hear from some of our students. We will round this out by hearing from Amy, who is our director of admission on the middle school campus. We hope that by the end of this, you have a good amount of information to start thinking about all the questions you may have for some of the other parts of our admission process where we get to hear from you. So today, just sit back and relax. You're going to hear from us and start writing down those questions or comments that you may have or things that you want to know more about. I'm going to start by just sharing about who I am. The head of school is a position that may be familiar to some of you, it may not be. It is one that I describe as I get to just work with everyone. It's a beautiful position where I get to ensure the joy and safety of every single member of this campus. I take that job seriously. And with the job, I've had 22 years or 24 years. How many years? 22 years of experience in education. That's included several years as an educator. I was an early childhood educator for many years. I taught second grade for 7 of those years. I was also a director of admission and associate head and spent a lot of time on the East Coast, honing a lot of those skills, but I'm actually from the Bay Area, born and raised in Berkeley, California, and a proud, proud Bay Area member. So 22 years in education. I have spent 5 years at Prospect Sierra. So this is my 5th year. I came here at a time where the world was sort of still and kind of normal. And then the pandemic hit, and I had about 3+ years of diving deeply into a community and getting to know who we are when chaos is happening. And I will say that I kind of wouldn't change it. I wouldn't ask for any other pandemic ever again. But I wouldn't change that experience only because I feel like I got to fall in love with this school in a way that I wouldn't have been able to if the days had been normal. I got to see who we are when we have to show up for each other in times that feel like impossible. And this community was the most beautiful, warm, loving community. And we stayed committed to children in a way that is evident to this day. So that's just who we are through and through, no matter what you throw at us. I am proud to be the head of this school. I'm excited that is my 5th year. I'm going to share with you in just a little bit some of the things that we have been working on for 5 years, even in distracting times. But I also want to share this is my first year, just on a personal note, being a mom. So that little guy is 1 year old. And a year ago, I was not at this virtual event because I was welcoming my son into my life. So that is Eli. He is the one who um, allows me to have a second shift of work as I go home. So all of those years combined, experiences that I'm bringing to you on a daily basis. I think you should know who your head of school is when you are applying to schools. I think you should think about the leadership position that exists. My work is rooted in so many other stories, and my hope is that we get to know each other better along the way. I do want to share some of the things that we've been working on as it relates to our school as a whole. The past 4 or 5 years, we've been thinking about our strategic priorities and just who are we as a school now and who do we want to be 5 to 10 years from now. So again, you'll hear more about this. This is kind of just a short clip to set some context for some of the work that you're going to be hearing about from our faculty members. So first of all, we have a mission for our school, like every place I think you're going to hear from. But I think what's important to know about Prospect Sierra is that we look at our mission regularly and we say, is this still who we are? The beautiful thing is that it is. Our mission is the same mission it's been since we were founded almost 26 years ago. We looked at our mission, though, strategically over the past few years and decided to make it even clearer. So we adjusted some of the words, but the sentiment, the core values are all still the same. And so I'm going to read it out loud. You'll hear me do this in other sessions because I think it's important for you to try to put yourself and your family inside of that mission. And if you can, then you're in the right place. If it feels totally different than who you are as a family and how you engage in the world, then that's something to consider and maybe ask questions about or get curious about for yourself, but also at the school. Prospect Sierra inspires and equips students to create a more inclusive and just world through deep and meaningful intellectual engagement, self-knowledge, and care for others. As you listen to our amazing faculty this morning, please try to find where the mission exists in all of what they're saying. It is not going to be hard to do. Something else that we honed in on and really clarified are our values. They're in the middle there and they're on top of that compass because they are our sort of directional words, sentiments, the way in which we engage with children. And those words are love, justice, innovation, and impact. And more important than the words are the behaviors and the actions that exist, which again, you'll hear more about. The last thing I want to share with you are just our strategic priorities. Those grow and change over the years. We have a strategic thinking process approximately every 5 years or so, where we're taking a deep dive into what our strategic priorities are. There are so many other layers of things that we're doing on a regular basis to revamp or evolve our curriculum and the work that we're doing for the people and the program in our school. But these priorities are ones that came to the top now. So the first one is to integrate across our efforts in change making, equity and inclusion, social emotional learning, and ecological literacy to deepen our rigorous program. The second one is to create more opportunities for students to gain agency and voice in their learning as true ecosystem partners. The third is to design open pathways for educators to grow professionally and enhance their wellness. And the last is to strengthen financial sustainability by developing creative connections to Prospect Sierra learning. So we will expand on those in the future, but those are the priorities that are keeping us sort of on track to make sure that our school is still the same school many, many, many years down the road and is able to serve the community that we have now and even more folks across our ecosystems. And the last two things that I'll share with you are associated with our strategic priorities, but are really exciting things that are happening in our community right now. So the Pearson Fellowship relates to our teachers and making sure that we can have as diverse of a faculty and staff as possible. The Pearson Fellowship is for associate teachers. Those are folks who are new to the teaching field, who are likely in a graduate or certification program. And the Pearson Fellowship allows for us to make that graduate program or certification program not an impediment for teachers that are interested in teaching at our school. It is specifically for teachers who are coming in who are part of underrepresented groups in independent schools, and it is a fellowship that's going to last us a lifetime. We are grateful for the donors that allowed us to be able to vision for our future, and it is funded in a way that we don't ever have to think about whether or not we have the funds to make sure that people can be here, even if it feels really hard to be here in terms of the impediments of getting here. It feels great to be here as a teacher. The other program is our Equity Action Program, and that's new this year, and you're going to hear more about that in our admission process down the road. But again, we have raised enough funds to allow for at least right now 2 full grants that are going to be given to families who qualify for them. So it is a way to expand our socioeconomic diversity within our community. We want everyone to feel like they can come and be involved in this incredible learning experience. And right now, tuition is a barrier for that for many families, even with a very robust flexible tuition program. So the Equity Action Program allows us to extend even further. And you'll hear more about what that program is like and whether or not that's for your family, but we would love to answer questions about that along the way. I am going to pass the virtual mic over to Nathan Tanaka so you can start to hear more about our program in the middle school. So Nathan.
All right. Thank you, Nisa. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this sunny Sunday morning. My name is Nathan Tanaka. I'm the middle school division head. I'm going to share a little bit about myself and a little bit why I think our middle school is really special and the way we think about middle school. But first thing, if you look in the top left corner of your screen, you'll see me holding a little trophy. Maybe I was fifth grade-ish. If you look closely at my jersey, and there's my older brother Aaron and my younger sister Serena. But if you look at my jersey, you'll see the letters EC on there, and that stands for El Cerrito, because I also grew up here in the Bay Area. And I actually went to Kensington Elementary School, which is still here. And I went to Windrush for 7th and 8th grade, which is unfortunately no longer here, but is now Summit, close to our elementary school campus. And then I moved to Japan for high school, where I went to an American school. And then I moved to Boston for undergrad, back to Tokyo, back to Boston, did my graduate work, and then came back to El Cerrito. And I feel so, so lucky to have landed here at Prospect Sierra. That was 9 years ago. So back in my hometown, and have been able to be here and could land at all kinds of different places. But the thing that makes me happy every single day is that I get to come to a place where, we try to get kids to be engaged, passionate learners, and it's all in the context of just really trying to make the world a better place. And that's an easy thing to get up in the morning for. The other thing about me is that I have spent almost my whole career in middle schools. So I'm a middle school educator through and through. And when I tell folks that, I do get some big sighs and eye rolls, because they have their own feelings about middle school, and I can understand that. And I think that's what makes us really special. When we think about middle school, we really think about reframing what maybe people think generally middle school is, which is maybe just a challenging time, and it can be. But we feel that it's an extremely special moment in a human's development, and not to say that they won't continue to grow when they get older, but this feels like one of their last moments of foundational, opportunity for us to have foundational change and to impact kids in a really, really meaningful way. I think when people think back on their own middle school lives, they remember a lot of important key moments still today. I think maybe some of you do too. And so for us as educators to be able to be there along someone's journey at that time, we take really seriously and feel is really special. So we do like to, reframe maybe what people think about middle school time. People will say kids in middle school are rebellious. I think that's true. And we know what they're trying to do there is, cultivate their critical thinking skills to understand why the world is what it is, why the rules what they are, why do you get to stay up later than them? Those are all great opportunities for us to engage them in their thinking. Some might say they get a little distant in middle school. Maybe they're not sharing as much at home at the dinner table, but what we like to think about is that they're trying to build their independence. We want that for all our kids. I think back to when I would ask my mom to drop me off down the street so that it made it look like I was walking to school by myself, just because I wanted to try on that feeling. And that can be tricky at times, but we also think, again, how do we cultivate that independence that they're looking for? We see big emotions in middle school. And that can be a lot too. And, one of the things we think about is just relationships. Their relationships with peers are becoming much more complex and intimate. They're really trying on what it might feel like to be there for someone in a real way, to really show up for someone in a complicated world. And at the same time, these friendships rise and fall quickly in middle school, and that can be really hurtful. And again, when we back up, here's an opportunity for us to teach kids how to create healthy relationships and help them work through that. And of course, the classic middle school thing, their bodies are changing at different rates. There's some comparisons, there's voice cracking and hair growing in new places. It's a lot for them. But, I share these things because, again, I've always really felt this, that when the kid comes in 5th grade and they leave in 8th grade, there's a time where it almost feels like they can go through this huge transformation. They can kind of come all the way apart and then come all the way back together into a new kind of person that's leaving into high school. And for that reason, we feel that middle school is such an extremely and special time. If we can go to the next slide. I'm not going to go through all the pieces on the slide here. You can see that, but I wanted to talk just a little bit more about our program, just in a macro sense, because we have amazing teachers here today. One thing I wanted to point out about that social emotional challenge that can be middle school, we address that in a lot of different ways. One big thing is our advisory program, where students come to school each day and they have their little family at school of 12-ish kids and an advisor who's kind of their at-school parent. that is the liaison with families. And it's a soft landing place for students to come each day to get situated for the morning, for the whole day ahead. And that group becomes a really stable place for students coming into school. Another huge piece of our program is our amazing teachers. They are lifelong learners. They always want to learn about what's going on out there. How can we continue to get better? I'm always trying to find ways to send more teachers to professional development, not because I need to tell them to do that, but because they're coming to me saying, I want to learn more. And so that spirit of being really open to growth and development is something we have inside our DNA. And the last thing I'll say is that our teachers just go above and beyond for our kids. They care so deeply about them, giving up their own recess breaks to have conversations with kids, to take more time after school to make a phone call. That's just a part of who we are in terms of really trying to show up for these students. And our teachers do an amazing job of that. And I could talk about them more and more, but we have some of them here. And the first one I want to pass it to is Leslie Tran. She is one of our fifth grade humanities teachers and fifth grade advisors.
Thank you, Nathan. And happy Sunday, everyone. My name again is Leslie Tran, and I'm really excited to tell you about the Humanities Department and our approach at Prospect Sierra. One of the things I love most about our middle school program at Prospect Sierra is that the students take a single integrated humanities course each year that combines the study of language arts and social studies, which at many schools are presented as two separate subjects. So together, these disciplines encompass the inherent diversity, possibilities, and responsibilities of being human. On a personal note, I really appreciate getting to teach humanities because I'm passionate about history and current events, but I also enjoy reading and talking about fiction, nerding out over grammar, helping students build their writing skills, and debating philosophical questions. At Prospect Sierra, I get to do all of those things. Every one of our humanities teachers loves to read, learn, think, write, and discuss, and we get to show up to work every day and do those things with our students. And the students really benefit from having a single teacher each year who can thoughtfully and intentionally make those connections between these different pursuits to create opportunities for deeper and more nuanced understandings. Our overarching goal as a department, as you can see on the slide, is for students to develop the knowledge, compassion, sense of responsibility, and core skills that they will use to build a better world. Next slide, please. In order to achieve that goal, we spend plenty of time building foundational skills in key areas like reading, writing, geography, and research. We teach our students how to carefully gather and evaluate information from a range of resources with an open, informed, and discerning mind before drawing conclusions. We steer them through how to express themselves and communicate in a clear, creative, and compelling manner in writing through a multi-step process of brainstorming, planning, drafting, receiving feedback, and using feedback as a guide for revising and editing to hone the message. We create opportunities for students to practice different modes of demonstrating their understanding with some assignments that are more creative, others that are more structured, and plenty that are sort of a little bit of both. And we examine many different topics and themes, both historical and current. But we also get to practice those important skills and deepen our understanding of those topics while pursuing big essential questions like, what is it that makes us human? What makes communities thrive? What is culture and how is it built? What does it mean to have values or a worldview? How can values and worldviews impact decision-making? What challenges have human societies faced over time? What challenges do we face now? How can change makers work towards overcoming those challenges and build a better future? How does history get written? Whose stories are often missing and why? How does the past shape our present? And what does it mean to be a thoughtful, responsible member of society in the 21st century? Whether we're examining these questions through works of literature, historical moments, current events, or even case studies drawn from our students' own lives, we look for the ways in which the topic is personally relevant to us as learners, whether it provides a mirror of one's own experience or offers a window into the experiences of others. And in all of these units, we emphasize the importance of challenging assumptions, cultivating empathy, and keeping the human element of the issues at the center of everything we do. Well, thank you for listening. It's now my pleasure to introduce Marlene, who will be talking about math at Prospect Sierra.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you all. So in middle school, we know that there's a significant change in students' development. There's a shift from concrete thinking to abstract reasoning. And in our math department, we're always helping our students develop a growth mindset as they move from solidifying arithmetic fundamentals in 5th grade to developing a deep understanding of complex mathematical relationships in 8th grade. Here, now I'm going to speak a little bit about the math mindsets that guide our teaching philosophy. So at Prospect Sierra, we know that everyone can learn math to the highest levels. We know that ability is not fixed, and we empower students to understand that their capability and smartness grow as they persevere when it doesn't come easily. Our students learn the importance of sitting with confusion, seeking help when it's needed, and getting ideas from others. We also know that mistakes are valuable. We believe that taking risks and making mistakes are key to learning. Wrong answers are opportunities for growth. And we celebrate mistakes as a means to deepen critical thinking. And we know that questions are essential. In middle school, students are exposed to a wide variety of mathematics. We teach integrated math in all grades, where students gain a foundation in algebra, geometry, probability, statistics, and number theory. In middle schools, where students learn to think, we're helping them develop their mathematical reasoning skills, and we focus on concepts rather than procedures. And we ask them why all the time. The students learn to ask themselves and each other, why does that make sense? We also know that math is about creativity. Some people think of math as clean cut, problems and answers, and that's that. But we know that math is more creative, and it's in these multiple pathways where math gets interesting. Our students become flexible problem solvers, learning from themselves and each other that you can make sense of problems through a variety of different approaches. And math is about making connections and communicating. Learning social. Students learn how to listen to others think in order to deepen their own understanding. And we're also aware that the gender gap in math can begin in middle school. And so we discuss, model, and practice taking space, making space for others, and what it looks like to be an ally and to lift each other up. We teach students to be capable mathematical communicators, and we regularly ask them to explain their reasoning verbally, with images, and in written form. And they learn to question each other's thinking and defend their own reasoning. We believe that depth is more important than speed. We create an environment where students develop comfort with taking risks. Students see incorrect answers as a welcome step in understanding. And providing students complex, unfamiliar problems, they reflect on the solutions, identify mistakes, and try alternate paths. And they have daily opportunities to get creative and to stick with it. And last, we know that math class is about learning and not performing. Students learn to explain what they think rather than wait for us to explain, and they get lots of practice thinking critically and justifying their thinking. So at Prospect Sierra, our students feel challenged, capable, and successful, and they see the creativity in math and its application to real-world situations, and they develop self-reliant thinking and critical questioning. So that's what I have, and I'm going to pass it off to David Gould, our co-lab teacher, who's going to talk about the arts department. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I feel like I'm back on Zoom school, but I'm happy to be here today and happy to talk about my department, which consists of 4 subjects. Mine is called CoLab, which is our word for the makerspace/fab lab. We also have very vibrant music, visual arts, and drama. Students come to all 4 classes all 4 years. So these are not elective, these are core classes throughout the year. The way we rotate them is that at any given time, a student will have 2 arts classes going, one visual and one performative. And after about a month, they rotate to the other 2. So throughout the year, they're getting all 4 of these subjects. And if they can't get enough, there's plenty of outside opportunities as well through electives, lunch clubs, after-school clubs, and things like that, such as the plays, concerts, and other opportunities. Our music class combines a lot of singing from different cultures, as well as instruments for all students. If they don't play an instrument already, they're learning xylophone parts and hopefully trying other types of instruments, such as classical instruments or guitars and rock band instruments. Our visual arts, we've had a longtime teacher named Julie. You know, in addition to just specific skills, she's really trying to train kids how to see the world. You develop their own style of seeing the world and learning a different 2D media, as well as some 3D sculptures like wire sculptures, things like that. Drama, again, all kids get it. And aside from whether they want to pursue theater, they're learning skills such as public speaking, trusting each other, all kinds of things. And in my class, we do all kinds of things. I don't even know how to encapsulate it quickly, but in the following slides, I'm going to show you a few examples of projects we do and the kind of thinking we're trying to explore. I love the space to be as screen-free as possible. We try to use a lot of cardboard prototyping materials. Even if we're going to end up with something a little more polished, we try to go through some iterations that are a little more low-tech. Like I said, cardboard and other quick materials, hot glue, things like that. But we do have some fancier tools like a laser cutter and a really nice set of woodworking tools. This picture in the middle is a really fun example. We had a student last year who wanted to build an electric guitar. And I told him if he was serious about it, he would have to come in for a few lunches every week throughout the whole school year. And sure enough, he did it. And he saved up some money and bought a nice slab of ash wood. And, you know, true to our process, I told him we should build a plywood model first so we don't ruin his nice wood. And so that's what this picture is. It's his plywood sort of iteration that we kind of practiced on. And then you can see some of the other projects just in the other photos. I won't go into all of them. Next slide, please. In addition to sort of exploring the creative process, I try to integrate as much of the other STEAM subjects as possible. A few really fun collaborations are mousetrap cars that we do. This integrates with a 7th grade science curriculum, talking about potential and kinetic energy and how to sort of harness as much of the power from a mousetrap spring as we can to make their car go the farthest. And so they spend time both in collab class and science class on that project. In the upper left, you can see some sort of crank projects that, you know, we talk about gearing and using different sort of inputs to create different movements with the output. And then there are also some wind energy photos here where students try to build their own wind turbines. This is a 6th grade project, their own wind turbine blades. And if students like, they can go on to a college campus near here that we've sort of partnered with and test out their wind turbines in the wind tunnel there. And so that's been a really fun opportunity for kids who want to take it a step further outside of the classroom. Next slide, please. And then one other project I'll talk about is a 7th grade project we've done several years in a row now, where students design their own pinball machines. I feel like this is a great example of the different steps of the process we like to go through, where we start with an idea, and then kids will, you know, combine their sort of creativity and come up with a theme, but also combine some of the physics and engineering and end up with a really fun situation where at the end we have all the games and we take turns playing them and rotate through, and the kids can see what everyone else has done. And there's just so much troubleshooting, so much collaborative, you know, teamwork that students have to figure out. So I feel like this is just a great example of the process that has been a project I come back to every year for 7th grade. Lastly, I'll talk about, even though, like I said, I try to keep things kind of hands-on, screen-free, we do at least one unit per year per grade where I do teach some sort of digital proficiency, just so students, feel prepared to go on to high school or feel prepared to explore different careers as they get older. Some examples are 3D modeling, different types of coding, some kind of robotics, and also digital art that we can output to our laser cutter. And I think all of these are valuable. It's really neat to start with a concept or a piece of code or something like that and see how that can turn into a real world object that you can hold in your hand. And so, students are learning, sort of 21st century skills and, preparing for anything they want to do next. And that is about it. Thank you for listening to the arts. I'm now going to hand it over to a teacher that I've gotten to work with a lot, named Jessie, who teaches 8th grade science. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Hi, everyone. I'm Jesse. I teach 8th grade science, and I'm going to talk about the values and skills that we emphasize in the science department at the middle school. In 5th through 8th grades, we focus on the tools and knowledge base of the sciences to understand the world around us. In every lesson and unit, we aim to connect concepts and skills to important local and global issues. And this makes our work interdisciplinary as we draw lines from what we're learning in the classroom to things like how we behave as consumers or the actions and responsibilities of elected leaders. One example is 5th graders learning about the environmental impact of the clothing industry and then organizing a costume swap before Halloween each year. Another one is learning about the pseudoscience of race in 8th grade and the many myths about race which are not supported with scientific evidence. And this overlaps with the work that students do in 8th grade humanities around the construction of race and the history of racial discrimination in this country. We do a ton of collaborative projects because this is how the best science is done in the professional world. And we cultivate a learning environment that values the contributions of all team members. We also explicitly teach collaboration skills so that students know what's expected of them in these teams and they can reflect on which skills they're successfully using and which ones they should continue to focus on. Many of the aspects of our curriculum aim to build observation skills and connection to our local environment. In 6th and 8th grade, students do regular nature journaling, learning techniques for recording things that they observe, both on campus and on short trips to nearby forested areas. 6th graders also work in the garden space at Avis and grow veggies like carrots and kale. They learn the square foot gardening technique and they practice caring for the plants through the entire life cycle, and then get to harvest and enjoy what they've grown. In each grade, students have the opportunity to design, build, and refine projects, giving them valuable experience and skills related to engineering, fabrication, and the use of a variety of tools and materials. In 5th grade, they build Rube Goldberg machines as they explore the world of motion and simple machines. In 7th grade, they apply their knowledge of electrical circuits to make LED greeting cards that light up. You can see one in the middle of this slide. And our graduates leave Prospect Sierra understanding science as a verb. Throughout the grades, they design experiments and they collect, analyze, and share data. They practice applying the scientific method to questions they're curious about and learn how to reduce sources of error in order to collect data that's meaningful and accurate. One example is the Body Systems project in 8th grade, which comes in the late spring. And this involves the students designing an experiment related to circulatory, respiratory, or nervous systems, which we had studied. And then they use the 7th graders as test subjects, and they conduct trials to learn about topics like how our senses work, how different activities affect heart rate, or how certain types of distractions affect performance on a focused task. At Prospect Sierra, students love science. They're deeply engaged, and we hear from graduates that they feel really well prepared for whatever courses they take in high school. And on that note, I will now pass it to Emily to talk about that transition.
Thanks, Jesse. Good morning, folks. My name is Emily Burns. I'm the high school placement counselor. And I'm excited to tell you about beyond high school and beyond. So the process that you're engaging in right now, potentially in a few years, you'll be engaging in it again. And if you come to Prospect Sierra, I will be there to help you every step of the way. I have 3 important guidelines that I hold on to when I work with families, and those are partnership, balance, and fit. Partnership. I am your partner through the whole process of looking for the right high school, applying for high school. I start working with our families in the spring of 7th grade and through the entire year of 8th grade. I'm with them every step of the way through this process. I never let our families miss an important opportunity or a deadline. I am in it with them. And then balance. It's really important to us that students are present in the moment and still feel like they're in 8th grade. So we encourage them to be mindful, appreciate what they have, and what's going on around them in 8th grade as they also look toward the future. And then fit is probably a word I say at least 10 times a day. It's really important for you and your student to feel what's going to be the right thing for your student, for your family. So as you start to look at high schools, I encourage our families to let go of stereotypes, do their own research, form their own opinions. There are no good or bad schools, but there are schools that are going to be a better fit for you and your family. And I'm here to help our families figure that out. 97% of our students are admitted to their first or second choice high school. And those high schools include 3 different categories. We have about a third of our graduates going to independent high school, places like College Prep, the Athenian School, Lick Wilmerding, Branson, and others. We have another third that go to local parochial schools like St. Mary's, Bishop O'Dowd, Salesian, and more. And then the final third end up at our fantastic local public schools like Berkeley High, El Cerrito, Albany, Oakland Tech. I'm here with our families every step of the way as they try to figure out what the right next step is for them. And that's one of the great things you get with the Prospect Sierra program, is someone that's going to hold your hand through that whole process. Our students do great at every single one of these schools that I've mentioned. And I'm really excited to introduce one of our amazing graduates, Elsa, who we miss every day. So we're going to hear from her next.
Hi, my name is Elsie, and I graduated from Prospect Sierra in 2023. I'm currently a 9th grader at College Prep in Oakland, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm living the high school life, and I was very prepared because of my middle school and elementary school teachings. I loved Prospect Sierra because of the welcoming community of faculty and staff. I never felt uncomfortable participating during class, or whether it be sharing my work during math, or participating in labs during science class, or joining in a debate during our humanities classes. I loved going to electives each Friday where you could interact with people from all different grades and just do fun things and recap your week with a fun activity. I led one last year, and it was a lot of fun getting to hang out with my friends and just play games. I think Prospect Sierra prepared me well for high school, especially when it came to writing, because in 9th grade, there's a lot of writing assignments, and the basis and foundation that I learned in 7th and 8th grade really prepared me to make a thesis, use supporting evidence, and have a good analysis. Another thing that I'm so grateful for in Prospect Sierra was the science curriculum, because I've always loved science. They always nurtured my love of learning, and I felt very comfortable walking into his physics class with a strong foundation, and I felt like it was similar to what I've already learned, and like I could do this, you know? I played 2 sports at Prospect Sierra. I played basketball and volleyball, and I loved it because I was on a team with 7th, 6th graders and people in my own grade. And I played for 2 years, which meant I got to play with my younger sister, who's a current 7th grader. And it was a lot of fun because we were both playing volleyball. And I actually am playing volleyball right now in high school, and I'm still having a lot of fun. At Prospect Sierra, I made some of the best friends I will ever have. They're going to be my friends for the rest of my life, and I am still in touch with them even though I'm in high school. And I feel like it's such a welcoming community, especially when so many people come in 6th grade, because I had friends that I'd had since like kindergarten, but I made so many in 6th grade because like the influx of new students and everyone's coming in and everyone's so excited to meet new people. And I really enjoyed that year in terms of friendship making, and it was really fun. I love talking about Prospect Sierra, and I love visiting my old teachers when I have the chance. And I'm so glad I got to make this video. I hope you have a good night.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. It's wonderful to hear from our alum. I can still remember Elsa on her first day of 5th grade. So hello, everyone. My name is Amy Milliken, and I am the Dean of Students, and I also teach 7th and 8th grade life skills. So I get to wear several hats, which I'll talk about in a moment. But just a little bit about me. I've spent over 30 years in education, teaching primarily in public schools. I started in a rural school in Montana teaching. I taught on the East Coast in Chicago public schools, in San Francisco Unified, and I've also done quite a lot of work training and supporting new teachers. So I bring all of that experience to my role here, where I have been the Dean of Students for 6 years. And it has truly a wonderful, wonderful fit for me. Being part administrator and part teacher really allows me to keep my foot in all different elements of the school. And that is one of the things I love most about my work here, getting to support students really closely, getting to work and connect with their families, as well as getting to work closely with teachers. So I feel like I've really found a wonderful professional home at Prospect Sierra. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the student support team and then some other aspects of our approach with students and some of the opportunities they have. As the Dean of Students, I work on the student support team very closely with our 2 learning specialists, one who supports 5th and 6th graders, the other who supports 7th and 8th graders, as well as our school counselor. And together, we meet regularly to talk about students and the best ways that we can support them, and make sure that every student really feels seen and heard and nurtured in the way they need to be thriving as middle schoolers. So it's very relationship focused. And one of the great things about getting to be on this team is we get to really bring multiple lenses to thinking about students, right? So we get to think about them through an academic lens, a behavioral lens, a socio-emotional lens. And I'd like to think about the difference between causes and symptoms. Lots of symptoms. Kids come to school with lots of symptoms, whether it's a stomach ache or struggling, with behavior in a class or a conflict with a friend. And we spend a lot of time really trying to identify what those causes are, so that we can address issues in meaningful ways, not just with Band-Aids, but with help that will be more long-lasting. And that might mean working one-on-one with students. That might mean pulling small groups like a social skills group or a conflict resolution meeting. And that might also mean supporting teachers. Our learning specialists might prepare lessons on executive function, time management, or planning so that teachers are able to work on those skills with students in study hall. The student support team might also design lessons for advisors to support students as we navigate current events or, big events in the world that obviously have an enormous impact on our everyday lives. So those are some of the things that we do. I like to think about the student support team as kind of giving a collective hug to the entire school, which I know is an exceedingly corny thing to say, but it really does feel that way as we work to lend our support. When Marlene was speaking about math, she mentioned mistake making as a really critical element to the math program. And I would say that it is a really, really central idea that we bring to all of our experiences with students. Middle schoolers make lots of mistakes, as well they should. And we think about mistakes as expected, respected, and inspected. We want students to be able to own their mistakes in moments where they've caused harm to another person, whether intentional or otherwise, We want to help them and support them in taking responsibility for those mistakes, and also forgiving themselves. And both of those are skills that are hard for middle schoolers. So we work tirelessly to really support them in those approaches to making mistakes. And of course, we also see mistakes as just amazing sites for learning and for growth. And so we want students to become comfortable in that space of making mistakes. We also spend a lot of time giving students opportunity to use their voice and to make choices, and in the process to become empowered. And so I hope that all of you, and trust that you'll have an opportunity to set foot on our campus, because things really come to life when you do that. It's hard to imagine any spot on our campus that hasn't been touched by students in some way, whether it's murals on the wall, the amazing art that Julie works on with students that hangs in our library, the dress code that students revised several years ago and is a part of our family and student handbook, or one of the bathrooms where students decided to create a campaign to put positive body image slogans all over the bathroom. Students definitely take leadership and impact the space in those very, very tangible ways. Lots of opportunities for students. I facilitate our student council, in which students run events, host student dances, run a student store. They're currently raising money so that we can create kits for the Women's Daytime Drop-In Center. So lots of engagement from students as they explore their leadership. As has been mentioned, we have an elective program that I run, in which students have the opportunity multiple times a year to join different kinds of electives, whether it's plants and potions or playing chess or badminton. They can explore lots of different activities. Several years ago, just before the pandemic, actually, a group of students came to me and said, we want to start a school newspaper. So 4 years later, that newspaper is going strong. We have an editorial staff and regular writers and student art contributions. There's a Green Council, of course, student cohorts in which students can join other people who share an identity with them to talk about what that feels like. So lots and lots of ways to be engaged. And I'll just say as I close that, and I apologize for the buzzing sound in the background, there is construction happening nearby, that we really want students to have the opportunity to try out lots of different things at this moment in their life. They're really in a space between sort of exposure to lots of things and becoming increasingly specialized. And so we want them to have that experience of saying, you know, what might I want to do? Can I see myself doing this? What do I care about? Who do I want to be? How am I going to impact the world? How am I going to show up for myself and for people in my community? So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to some of our fantastic students to share a little bit about their experience.
It was a very soft landing. I feel like it was very easy, and Prospect Sierra made it so enjoyable and fun to start here. So in math, if I'm ever having trouble, I can just go to a teacher, and one of the math teachers will be like, okay, well, you can study this. And if you ever need help, just come to me at recess and I can help you. Or during the study hall, come and I'll show you how to do this certain thing. And it's really nice and it feels really secure.
I really like getting a bunch of new kids at sixth grade because I just got a new chance to meet new people and expand my friend group.
When a bunch of new students came in sixth grade, it was really fun because a lot of my friends already knew some of them, and they introduced me to the new students very quickly. We became really close.
But something I've enjoyed the most was probably the community meetings, because those are just really fun to watch and sometimes participate in. Well, today we sang a song for Dia de los Muertos.
My favorite class is probably science. I just really like the way Hannah teaches and their teaching style and how you can ask questions and they always get answered. And it's just really easy to understand the topic and material in their class. Since my dad is from Peru, I started learning Spanish at a very young age. And at Prospect Sierra, there's a class where you can learn more about your heritage. It's a very small class. We get to talk about like our experiences as being bilingual people. And I also got to meet more bilingual people there.
My favorite class is probably math because I'm struggling a little bit, but I like having challenges. My teachers like help me by doing one-on-one to help me figure out what I'm struggling with, and it's really helpful. It's effective.
The front office workers, Tamara, Mary Beth, Vivian, they're all so nice and they're really supportive. And every morning I go and say hi to them and give them a hug and, you know, wish them a good day. Another teacher that helped me improve was Matthew in 7th grade. It was just always very kind to me, very understanding, and helped me figure out new ways to write, new ways to edit essays, new thesis statement ideas, just how to really put all that together.
I think I really like the collab projects so far. They've always been really fun. I think my favorite one, I guess, was the pinball machine we made last year. And we got to decorate it and build it all by ourselves. We used like woodworking tools and we worked in small groups we got to pick.
This was probably in 6th grade when we had an ancient civilization project. I had Indus Valley, so like the old version of India, and we studied them a lot and did a lot of research and then wrote a short story. We also interviewed someone who grew up in India and got to hear about their perspective and take notes on that and use that for our research.
I sometimes go to the Black and African American diaspora cohort. So you can really be around people that understand you and get you like your personal experiences.
I've been a part of the queer and questioning cohort. It's really helped me and my exploration through genders and sexualities, and it makes me really feel welcome here.
The Latinx cohort, because most of my family is in Mexico. It's fun seeing other people's like stories.
I was a part of the Jewish cohort for a long time, and that was super fun at this school. I got to connect with a lot of other people and also just have fun snacks and talk, and I really like that.
One that really stood out to me was the Asian cohort. Like the people there, they really understand me and like I can connect with them.
There's a lot of cohorts actually. Yeah, you could be included in any of them, but the Black student cohort, it was very fun because we did this thing called a bingo. It's something to get to know everybody, and it was like inclusive and stuff, and it's very fun.
I do basketball, volleyball, and cross country here. I really think that it's really fun because throughout the year you get to make new friends with other kids at like 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and you get to really make a bond with them.
When I first came, I started in the after school band, and it helped me make a lot of new friends as I started, because I joined Prospects here in 5th grade, and a lot of the kids there were also in my grade, and I got to know some of them.
I first got involved in student council in 6th grade. I did it because I really wanted to be a part of leadership and learn from people that I admired.
I've been involved in the collab extracurricular. We built locks, so it's really interesting. We got to laser cut, and you have to figure out how to make your key push certain parts of the wood but not the others. I've also played on the basketball team. That was really fun. It was a great experience.
I've actually made a lot of friends in drama that I wouldn't have really made outside of that class. And also in general, the plays are really fun to do. I mean, yeah, it's just a really fun thing that I love doing after school, and I'm definitely going to do it again this year.
Just how much my confidence has grown from like 6th grade to 8th grade. It's really improved a lot. Even like presenting today at morning meeting was like a lot easier than it probably would have been in 6th grade.
Like everyone knows my name here. Like everyone will come up to me and be like, "Oh, hey, Claudio," and then I'll just like be like, "Oh, hey, I love the school and I love the community."
Out of all the things Prospects here has taught me, I think I will most use not just academics, but then through academics, also learning about other cultures and ways to respect. And just from a young age at 5 in kindergarten, I've just been taught that. It's been implanted in my subconscious. Yeah, it's been a part of my life here and also outside of school. So I really use that in my life.
Something I'll take away with me from Prospect Sierra is like being kind to everyone and thoughtful, as well as like staying like true to yourself. it was
Our students are just at the heart of everything we do. I always love hearing from them. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Sullivan. I am the Director of Middle School Admissions here at Prospect Sierra. Thanks so much for being here today. This is my 15th year here at the school in a working capacity, and I'm also the proud parent of a Prospect Sierra 4th grader. My son, Max, started here in kindergarten. And I have to say that both as a person who works at the school and especially as a parent, I feel sincerely grateful every day to be a part of this community. My role in admissions is really to partner with you and to be your guide in this process. And our whole admissions team is really here to partner with you. So that's myself and Renee and Beth. We all work collaboratively together to hopefully make your experience in admissions a joyful one. We know that looking at schools can feel daunting, and we are here for you to hopefully make all of this as clear and transparent as possible and to help you navigate this journey. So as we get to know each other over the next few months, if there's ever a time when you have questions or are looking for guidance on any part of this, please reach out to us at admissions@prospectsierra.org, as you see there on the screen. And I will try to get back to you, or one of us will get back to you for sure, or point you in the right direction for whatever it is that you need. And for today, we just want to make sure that you get a few quick pieces of information before you go. So our middle school campus here that we refer to as Avis, because it's on Avis Drive, is home to grades 5 through 8. So our major entry point for the middle school is 6th grade, where we expand from around 48 students to around 72 students. So that's when we really bring in a lot of new students and families. We do have limited space in 5th grade and 7th grade as well. So we are accepting applications for those grades. So we're looking for, like I said, lots of new, great new students and families to join us, and really families who, like Nisa said, are feeling connected to our mission, and families who really share our values of love, justice, innovation, and impact, and our commitment to making the world a better place. So for those of you who are interested in applying, I want you to know that our deadline is Friday, January 19th. And that is also our deadline for applying for flexible tuition. We really do not want the financial piece to be a barrier for you to see a Prospect education as possible for your family, for your child. To reiterate what Nisa mentioned, we're so excited about our Equity Action Program, our EAP as we're calling it, that's starting this year, in addition to our really robust flexible tuition program. So please reach out to us if you have any questions about this or about flexible tuition at all. We really want to work with your family through this process. And there's also coming up, one of our events is a flexible tuition workshop. So lots of opportunities to learn more. Over the next few months, we want to get to know you, and we know that you want to get to know us and all of us at Prospect Sierra and the school. We've planned lots of great events to help make that happen and to hopefully really make the process as low stress and informative as possible for you. One great event coming up soon is a coffee with Nisa here on campus on November 29th. There's still space. You can sign up for this and all of our events through Ravenna. So some of those are listed here. And we do hope to see you again soon. For now, we are just so grateful that you've chosen to spend your time today with us and to learn more about what Prospect Sierra is all about and who we are. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you all so much for joining us. Bye, everyone.
Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.